give it 15 seconds.
Well, they're behind, so they'll just get like 15 seconds of chill. Yep, we're up.
Alright, cool. Alright,
All right.
everybody. Welcome back to Battle Arena with
Buddy
me,
disconnected
Ugly
from your
Tuco,
channel.
and Cargans. Horse
Hello.
needs to go on a run. You know, he's got to keep in shape. So we're gonna be taking over for Game 3 here, and I believe both teams are ready to go. So whenever they're ready to start, we can get this show on the road. In spirit. What the heck? What's TLT doing?
I know not. They're trying to swap stuff.
Stuff. Wanashibo, you are the game owner for this lobby.
Yay.
Alright, sweet, here we go. Right into champ select.
So, Tuco, what is this?
What is what?
What are we doing right now?
Oh, right. Okay, everybody, welcome back to Battle Arena. This is Game 3 of the day. Or, not Battle Arena, this is Bronze Bootcamp. Bronze Bootcamp, of course, is where anybody from Bronze up to Silver 5, and maybe me have a little bit of leeway even there. Anybody can come in, join. There's a sign-up sheet at trinityforcenetwork.com. You just go to the Battle Arena tab, and under that you'll see a Bronze Bootcamp sign-up link. You click on that. Sign up for any of the 3 times. It happens every Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 12 to 3 if you're cool and live on the West Coast. And of course, this is all part of the Trinity Force Network. It's an awesome network of podcasts and community. We have 4 podcasts that run. We have the Trinity Force proper, led by Adam Ponophobia. We have the LCS Rundown, led by Norum, and with guest hosts such as Optimus Tom, who also works for Riot, so that's kind of pretty cool. And they go over the LCS every week, give their picks, what happened, help you catch up and stay informed. We also have the Oslol podcast, which is for all you people who live upside down on the world, down in Australia. They go over not only just the Australian league scene, from pros to patches to community events, and also the most recent addition, the Four Awards podcast, which is more geared to the newer players of League of Legends. And there you go learn all the basics, and you sometimes get cool challenger guests who talk about Twisted Treeline and the meta and how you can start playing Twisted Treeline and to succeed at it. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm joined here by Cargans.
Yeah.
And we're going to get started by looking at some of these bans and picks. Go ahead if you see anything.
A few of these bands, yeah, it's all fine and dandy. I don't know if Echo's really a ban that I see all too often.
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those things, if you're going to burn a ban because you're afraid of that champion or you don't want to deal with it, that's fine. But Echo Zed those are the ones that stand out to me. It's one of those sort of, I kind of shrug.
Yeah.
But also, we got a Shaco. I haven't seen him in ages.
Yeah, me neither. It'll be interesting to say the least. He and Lee Sin should be clashing quite a bit in the early game. They're both going to be trying to apply early pressure on the lanes, or maybe Shaco could take a different approach and try to invade. They could also invade each other. It'll be interesting. They both are pretty early. They both are focused around snowballing early game, and that will determine a lot. If one of them decides to play more passively, it's going to really allow the other to come in and affect the game more. So hopefully we'll see aggressive actions by both of them.
Yeah. Still waiting on a couple picks here.
I do
On
like
where?
the Kale ban, and Shyvana too, I guess.
Yeah, kill Shyvana V. Those are, again, junglers who build Devour and become... Like, they just suddenly become big monsters, and you ask yourself, why? What did I do to deserve this?
What hell have I been put into for
But
Shyvana
why?
to two-shot me as AD carry?
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
just kind of soars majestically like a dragon. It's like, "Brar!" You're like, whoa. Oh, hey, I'm Morg.
Alright.
Waiting on these last picks. It's going to be a big Darius. Maybe a
Yeah, I
Scion.
don't know so much about the Leona. I think Leona can work well with Varus in lane, I guess.
They have, I mean...
I'm more
So
worried
with-
about peel for both Xerath and Varus, but she can peel a little bit too. She's not the best at peeling, but she's capable of it.
There's... If Horse were here, he would complain about how he doesn't like Leona's support, because Leona's kind of... She has two modes, and that's all in or, oh no, I don't want to go all in.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to play a lot around her summoners. I think Horse put it pretty eloquently. It's like, if you're down a summoner as Leona, you got to play safe. If you guys are even on summoners, then Leona can kind of, do her thing. If Leona has summoner advantage, then she can go all in, and you have to respect that all in potential.
Yep.
All that being said, there's a Morgana with Black Shield. That's going to make their life a little bit more difficult, to say the least. And there's also a Draven there. Even if Zenith Blade does land, a very quick stand aside is going to ruin that engage.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it plays out. But Leona kind of just goes all in, and we
if
talk
that
about a lot.
all-in doesn't go well, or if a jungler shows up at an opportune time, there's nothing she can do. Yeah.
She's really binary. Like, once she's in, she can't get out unless everyone dies.
Yeah.
So she's really good when ahead. But if they're pressuring early on, a good jungler gank can really turn around the early level. So we'll see how they play out. And we got Nari. Okay.
Nice. All right. Cool. So we got Gnar, Lee Sin, Morgana, Draven, and Ahri. I kind of like that team.
The team's really good. They're going to have to play a lot around when Gnar has Rage. If Gnar isn't able to transform anytime soon, they're going to have to rely specifically on Morgana's flash ult potential, or if she can land a pick. Like, their team comp's pretty pick-eccentric. You've got a Charm and you've got Binding. I think if anybody stands in the wrong spot, they're going to get completely just destroyed.
And if they do go into a team fight, they really do need a Mega Gnar in there wreaking havoc. And they kind of have to go in. Like, Xerath and Varus, to an extent, can stay back and unload their damage from a distance. So
Yeah.
if they can get into that uncomfortable circle that Varus and Xerath don't want people in, then yeah, that was an interesting... Did you see a summoner spell change for Leona?
Yup. I did.
Is that cleanse?
Yeah, it's a
Is
cleanse.
that a mistake?
I don't know. Normally, if people are taking cleanse, it's normally your damage dealers. Xerath, Varus could take cleanse, and I think that wouldn't have been a bad choice for either one of those guys. Leon doesn't need cleanse because it's pretty simple. If you are getting CC'd, that's fine. You're not gonna die for it, especially since you build durable anyway. And if you're dealing with a lot of CC, you just build Merc Treads and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't really think building that or having a cleanse is going to help you in lane, because that just means in lane now you've got one less summoner. As I was talking about earlier, it's depending on who had summoner advantage is how well Leona can play the lane.
Yeah.
You just sacrificed your summoner spell, because cleanse isn't going to do more damage, and it's not. All it's going to do is going to remove the binding. That's it.
It's not going to help your teammate remove a binding from him. It's just... Yeah, I don't think it's going to be very useful.
Yeah, I think in this game, you might want to just pay attention to having that summoner and just how effective it's going to be. I think you'll start to kind of understand it, like maybe towards the mid game, where yeah, I cleansed that CC, but
She'll
didn't really do
understand
a
it
whole
at
lot.
level 2 when she goes in with Varus, and then the enemy AD carry gets away with 50 health when you had Ignite, when you could have had Ignite.
Or exhaust, yeah.
Or yeah, yeah. That's I think you'll notice it, but
Yep.
we'll see. We talked a little bit about the jungle matchup. I'm not too familiar with Shaco. He's very he went Smite Ignite, which is actually pretty. I like that.
Yeah.
It's such an enormous threat early game to anybody on the other team who decides to push up in their lane. Which I could see maybe Ari doing. Maybe. But if anybody on the enemy team is pushing around level 2 and 3, they could be in for a very rude awakening from Shaco just appearing from behind them with an Ignite and some sharp knives. So
I think
they really do have to play around that. I feel like if you're on purple team, you have to keep in mind that Shaco around levels 2 and 3 or minute marks, even like minute mark 2, and then especially after the 3-minute mark. Yeah, it's gonna be. He's gonna be looking for that early game kill.
Yeah. I think his biggest opportunity is more than likely going to be in the bottom lane. I think if Morg, Draven get an early shove going and start forcing their advantage pretty early, Shaco could probably get something there. Because Leona ain't nothing for nothing. She has great ganking assist with her Zenith Blade followed by her stun. So there is that to keep in mind. So
Yeah.
I think bot lane, red team's bot lane needs to respect that at least a little bit.
They definitely do. Any second here, we'll be loading the game up. There we go. Mid lane, we didn't talk much. Ari versus Xerath. I think it's of course skill dependent. Most Ari matchups are. Yeah, both can clear the waves pretty well. Both can make picks with CC. Xerath has a lot longer range though. Both are taking Ignite, which is interesting. I was wondering if like Cleanse might even been more appropriate on Xerath for this game, with Charm and Binding. Yeah. Xerath
Yeah,
really
I would.
gets it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it would have worked there. Like I was saying earlier, like Leona with cleanse doesn't make a lot of sense. If it were on Varus or Xerath, I would have liked a lot more. But
The top lane matchup. Do you have any comments on that?
yeah, I think it's going to be just Gnar versus Sion. I think Gnar is going to farm fairly safely for a while, and Sion's going to more or less ignore him.
Yeah, I feel like Gnar can really pressure him early on. If he doesn't, he's wasting that range advantage. But we'll see. Sion is capable of just chilling, farming,
Yeah.
being immovable. He might want to start. He could start a camp here if he wanted.
Yeah.
And start with a whole bunch of health pots and sustain.
Yeah.
I don't know if Gnar is capable of starting a camp. I don't know too much about that.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, neither of us are top lane experts. When we're sent up there, we go. Oh, okay. Hopefully, I make a good teleport. And other than that, I'm gonna just stay up here and try not to die.
Yeah.
Any second, this game's gonna get going. There we go.
All right, let's take a look at items.
Doran's Ring. Da, 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 da. Okay, got everything set up. Ancient Coin's okay on Morgana. Like, you can go either that or with the It's not Frost Queen's claim, but what builds
Spell
into that.
Thieves!
Spell Thief's Edge, yeah. Spell
Yeah,
Thieves
I would've-
is pretty good on.
I would have liked Spell Thieves a lot more for that early lane pressure.
Both teams moving out. Blue team getting a more dispersed kind of defensive look. Though Xerath, where he is right now, he's very susceptible to an invade. Like, he doesn't have any vision of jungle entrances on his side. And if he had put a ward there very early on, he would have been okay there. But now he moved into that area. A little risky. But other than that, also Sion just went straight up to his tower. I would like to see him try to get vision somewhere along here, or maybe even throw a ward somewhere in those two areas, and then start say wolves. I think is wolves or raptors is what most top laners decide to pick when they choose to do a camp early on. But yeah. Early deep ward from Nara. I think that was really just to see where their jungler's starting and hopefully get vision of them later on.
Yep, they want to know where Shaco's starting.
Not a bad word. Not a bad word at all. So it looks like Lee Sin's starting blue first. He's very wary of Shaco coming in after doing this red. That's pretty smart to do. Looks like Shaco's gonna go ahead and go straight for He's going straight for blue, right? He's gonna probably try and get early gank off top of it if he's looking for that.
Raven doesn't have any axis fitting. You gotta play the minigame.
Yeah.
Like, right now, Draven, you're just kind of standing there. You totally need to start catching axes. L2.
That's very essential.
Uh,
There's the level 2. Alright.
Yeah, a lot of your damage comes from those axes. If you're not actually, like, catching those spinning axes, you're denying a huge part of what Draven does.
Yeah, a huge part of Raven. If you're not building stacks, you're not going to cash anything in, and there goes your advantage as Draven. Like, it's over before it begins.
Yeah, you gotta at least try and catch those axes.
Yeah.
All part of that giant minigame.
And he's a very high skilled champ. It takes a lot of practice to juggle axes effectively.
Yeah.
But
That might be a dead pineapple.
there it is. The early gank top from Shaco. I don't know why Sion is leaving those minions there. In fact, it looks like I could even potentially not run into tower. Yeah, it's
Nope.
gonna freeze right outside of Nar's tower. That's nice for Nar to come back.
Yeah,
here.
Nar can just TP back and just hang out now.
Yeah. Not force the lane.
Yeah, Sion and Shaco, what you should have done after the gank was completed, shove that wave to tower and force Nar to, burn teleport or lose experience under tower.
Yeah.
Now you can just kind of walk it back.
Yeah, so if they had pushed into tower, then the whole wave would have reset back to the middle, which would be advantageous for Sion and Shaco if he wants to gank top again. So. But now it's kind of pushing towards Nar. He can play more defensively.
Yeah, it's at tower now. But, meh. All right, Lee. When you want to gank a lane, one of the things you want to keep in mind too is like where the minion wave's sitting. And well, that gank was all fine and dandy. Like right now, all Nar needs to do is just kind of last hit, farm for a bit. And if Nar had like the ability to transform into Mega Nar, that would have been a much better gank.
Close.
More,
really
more.
close. If only there was an ignite to help kill Morgana there.
Oh, that's so true.
Shake up. Not quite.
And more farming. There you go. There you go, Draven. You gotta catch those axes.
Let's see. The CS, pretty, nothing too drastic.
Farm's pretty standard. Mid lane looks like it's a big farm fest. Ari's actually doing pretty well so far, it looks like. She's been last hand hitting pretty well.
You want to talk about Draven's first buy of boots there?
Boots are kind of I don't know. If that's the only thing you could afford, sure. But boot start's not that great. Here we go. That's the gank you want. There you go. Good job.
You want to describe what happened there?
I caught the tail end of it. Lee Sin came back with gank sign on the second time.
So yeah,
Good.
neither of the top laners have a board in River, so I'd like to see that change soon. Since coming down the river.
That was a very interesting flash, Mr. Varus. A lot of ADCs you have to value your flash very significantly. Without it, you are very, very susceptible to getting hit hard.
Yeah.
Flashing just so you can land that arrow damage. Like if there was a kill on the line there, I wouldn't have minded too much. But just flashing for that's kind of eh.
Yeah, Draven's inability to catch axes is hurting his DPS very much during these trades. It's making it not very great.
Yeah, you gotta have those spinning axes rolling. You can have 2 up, and playing that minigame's incredibly important. Also, standing there is probably not the wisest thing. If Morg's back there, you don't want to be anywhere near there. You gotta respect that burst potential that Leona and Varus have.
Yep, and if you don't have vision of that bush, well, they have control of the lane. Basically, you can't be walking up.
Yeah. If you're in a bush and you auto attack, you will be visible to the enemy. You're not invisible all day long. It's tough too. What you auto attack, like, oh yeah, I know he's right there. Interesting. I haven't seen Shaco since like that early gank.
Yeah.
Kind of just been farming it in the jungle.
Oh, there's a teleport coming in bot. Nar coming in.
There's a jump.
Nice.
No, good.
Oh, missed the stun. Doesn't matter.
Still got the kill though.
The rest of the red team needs to keep following there. Yeah.
Yeah. Good teleport.
Very nice. Sion ended up walking down to mid lane. Try to get a gank on Ahri, but it's hard to get a gank on her. She'll just ult you away.
Yeah.
But one thing Xerath can really do is communicate that Ahri has used her ulti and maybe Shake can follow up on that.
Oh, Ahri might be in trouble. Yep.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah, that's Shaco.
Really unfortunate. Wow.
Boop, there it is.
Nar can, I think, keep going. Oh no, there's the teleport from Sion.
Yep, time to go home, spend some gold. Yep. When you're dealing with a Shaco, you want to make sure you got some sort of ward control over the Dragon Pit. Especially if you're playing red side into blue side. Because he can just kind of just show up and just steal the dragon.
Yeah.
Draven, you are at risk, sir. They wanted to tower dive that, they totally could.
Yeah. They
Like,
can't
Leon-
help with that tower dive.
Oh, you are correct. Or exhaust. Take a pick.
Anyone? Have you seen clones used yet?
Ooh.
Okay. It might. Even though Zerath already has blue. Oh, you got it. Alright. Don't know if that was intentional, but. Looks like Hotline's gonna be where all the action is for the next.
Yeah. That might be dead Draven.
Oh, nice binding.
I don't think it's gonna be enough
Oh, unless he decides to stay for the kill. Yeah. And looking at the CS difference too. I don't know if this person has a lot of experience on Draven, but a lot of practice needs to go into last hitting and in juggling axes.
Yeah. Hold on, we'll talk a little bit more about just like last hitting in general once we hit once we get the end game screen. But you definitely wanna get the art of last hitting down. Especially if you're on such a gold dependent champion. Or gold dependent role I should say. Like if this were top lane and you're having problems last hitting, it's not as bad because you can build tank and it'd be useful for CC. But right now, like, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to do much of anything this game simply because you're unable to last hit as well as Varus at this point. Nara's an annoying champion.
Very much so. Looks like Morgana's gonna try and go. She needs to communicate. Close. And it is leaving her Draven in a 2v1 down bot. Looks like Ari got blue. Hopefully she can go push out mid and try to make something happen because she hasn't had much kill pressure on Zerath.
There, it's starting to hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Draven's got to play incredibly safe for a little while. Uh-oh. I don't know if running right into Gnar when he's in Mega Form is the smartest thing in the world.
Okay, so I know you feel like bot lane isn't going well, so you feel you might have to roam to actually make a difference, but Draven does need some help here. He's not going to be able to get back in the game unless he
Binding. That's one ult down, and then they got... Oh.
Whoa, did Draven walk all the way down? Huh. Interesting. Yeah, their bot lane is at a pretty huge disadvantage right now. I don't know if they can really be offensive in any scenario, even with their there. It's just gonna hand over a double kill. So if you're Lee Sin, I wish you put a bit more pressure on mid. Bot lane, you can't really do anything for at this point. You're gonna just get yourself some kills and give more gold to the enemy Varus, I feel like. But did you have something to say?
Yeah, in that particular engage too, like, unfortunately, something you gotta keep in mind is you have to hit the target that's in front of you. Like, you try to chase down Varus and there's still a Leona there. Like, unfortunately, you guys were just split up and Leona was able to just lock you guys up for a long period of time. And here's Varus to land an arrow. Really make that trade just work in his benefit. So, next time, like, understand, like, what champions can do in terms of power spikes. Oh, Pineapple's already dead.
Did Pineapple's already ult?
No, it still have cooldown.
Alright.
But yeah, Bird Flash though. Oh, Sparkle.
Might have been able to. Oh.
Gotta ult Q, then follow through Q. I would have put Hawk under tower.
So yeah, it looks like Varus and Leona are doing a good job here. They already took that tower. They realize they have a very strong advantage. They have two options. They can either keep pushing in bot lane, or they can go for other objectives such as mid tower or dragon. So it looks like they chose to get dragon here.
Yeah.
They know Lee Sin was just top, so it should be pretty prudent. They don't have their jungle. What if they're gonna decide to, yeah.
Oh, Ari's in a little bit of trouble.
Happy feet. Happy feet. Was that only one second?
Yeah, that was only one.
Oh, what's that? Alright, so Draven, I don't mind him staying down there and just farming and pushing, because he really needs that farm to catch back up.
Not yet. Spark will leave him. The poor man's gone. Oh wow.
Was that an ult away?
I think that was an ult in.
One more auto! Oh! It's close.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Xerath is coming up. Nice ping, whoever pinged that out. Alright. Some more aggressiveness from Shaco here. I like to see that. They know they have an advantage, especially in bot lane. Their priority is really high. There's
Yep.
no.
There's got all in my Ari.
Yeah. They're gonna get away with it.
Yeah.
That could have been easily punished. Ah, where is there? Oh, okay. Yeah, Varus, he was a little low, but. Alright, time to look at builds.
Yeah. Looks like Ari's going into Death Cap first. Which, you could probably go into Morello's first and then go right into Death Cap, and I think that's fine, or a Morello's into Luden's.
Yeah.
I think both items would be a good start for you. Death Cap right away isn't as powerful as if you've already got some
He did
AP
buy
kind
another
of...
Doran, so it's okay. But if she doesn't use her spells wisely, that mana regen's gonna hurt. That mana regen's gonna hurt a lot. So. Like, so you don't have to build Morels or things in order to as a mid laner that relies on mana. Like, sometimes you see a Twisted Fate with 20% scaling CDR boost, mill, rush, CDR boost.
Right.
And just rely on blue card to get that mana back. Ari doesn't really have a mana regain mechanic, but maybe having another one would be okay.
Yeah.
Being very aggressive. Trying to steal that blue.
Oh. Goodbye, Nick. Oh, Mega Run. Xerath ultimate. One! Got in one. Xerath, you've got 3 charges to that ultimate. You might as well throw them out. They're
Someone.
free.
Throw them out for style points.
Yeah. charm.
Okay, now that they oh,
Yep.
okay.
Those are.
So for when Scion and who was that? Scion and they decided to push that tower. They didn't have any vision whatsoever. In fact, their vision top river and top in general is very bad. I would like to see some more. If they decide to push for that turret, they could put a ward in that tri-bush here, and they would have avoided death. Wow, landed it.
Yeah, Zion really bended it like Beckham there.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing Red Team does have going for them, is that they have
yeah. Not the greatest sneak attack ever.
yeah, Red Team does have a pretty good cover to the top jungle. Other than that, yeah, their warding overall is actually pretty decent. Blue Team, they have some deep wards bot. Oh, nice.
Oh no!
Awesome.
Wow.
Wow, this is really good job by Narn. If we can get one more binding out, they might be able to secure a kill.
Right now?
Oh,
Oh no! Mega
Yeah.
Pineapples, no! Operation Mega Pineapple, go!
I don't think they give me little pieces now anymore without risking. Oh, there it is. Nice job.
Hold on.
Oh, actually, probably put vision back.
That'd be good.
Dragon. I don't necessarily agree with it. They have both Gnar and Morgana out there with them. They don't have vision of like we can just go and do that.
Oh hey, Draven got a kill.
Yeah, they got a kill. That's good. He got a cash in on I don't know how many stacks, but probably.
It was probably a few. It's bonus gold, and it's a start.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things why we were talking about your passive being really important is if you're able to stack that up even a little bit, you get a lot of gold from that. And that's why catching Actus becomes a huge part of his kit. Not only for damage, but you also get to snowball off of that bonus damage with more gold. Blue team
does have a pretty decent CS advantage in both the AD carry and those are both their. I would like to see more red team there. You saw them grouping mid at least 45 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be no reason why there's only one person there. So Nara and Jason will be able to flank, but I don't think they can do anything.
Yeah. No. Nar's not in any shape to transform yet. He's gonna get burned before it goes down.
So you always need to kind of keep an eye on where the enemy team is and where try to where they're gonna go. Because it's pretty deliberate though, and showing that they're gonna try and take mid and everybody was really like getting into it.
Yeah, you have to make sure to like if you don't have the bodies to defend that tower, you have to make that judgment call and say, you know what, I can't defend this tower by myself. I have to wait till people show up.
So
and then.
Yeah.
If Draven were around when Lee Sin and Gnar showed up, that might have been Going too deep.
Yeah.
Going too deep.
Especially because they don't have the sword.
Here, the ultimate go. Yep. And they're not in any position to go deep for that. You guys are fighting a team competition that wants to get the upper hand on you. You've got a Shaco, you have a Leona and a Varus, and a Xerath. Like a lot of CC to walk into.
And a lot of poke. If you're not able to engage right away, like when Lee Sin missed that Q onto Varus, they needed to back off right then and there because they're just going to be running into more and more poke in their face.
Absolutely. Yep.
Awesome. Alright, so you missed your CC, time to stop chasing. There we go. Red team does have some more wards in their bot jungle now, but their ward coverage has fallen off quite a bit.
Good charm. I don't know if you've got enough to finish
I
him.
think she might. She dodged that knockup very well. One more Q. Very nice moves.
Alright, there you go. Yeah. Now's the time, like, red team just ward everywhere.
They just need to ward up, play defensively,
Yeah.
hope to find a Scion or Varus alone, and make sure you have pink wards in your inventory so Nico does try to heal away or use this whole eco to hopefully find them.
Yeah.
They're not really in a position to go out and start fighting in the river or around Baron.
Yeah.
If the enemy team started Baron and you had all 5, that might be your best chance. But I have a feeling blue team's not going to just start Baron while it's pretty even in the first game.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, they're trying to get a split push going on.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to
Shinko's
find...
actually one of the junglers who actually is pretty decent at split pushing. One of the
Yeah.
few. Dragon's up in 25.
He might be in a little bit of trouble. Be able to get away. Yeah, or you know, Red needs to play around the vision. Like, when you're behind like this, you want to do two things. A, make sure you have got vision of where you need to go, and make sure that the enemy team doesn't have vision of where they want to go. So, lots of people go a long way here. You guys have the Baron, the area around Baron, taken care of. And props to you guys for not trying to like go and base check dragons. You guys do know it's up, and you know you can contest
They
it.
actually have a ton of wards around that area. Looks like they're getting ready for Dragon, but they're worried about Shaco and Varus up in there. Looks like they're gonna try and whoa.
Oh.
That hit. Nice binding.
Megan just walk up and like, whoop. Marshall, you're in trouble. Right away. Meantime, Gecko is back door. They're just stalling, it looks like now. Only one inhibitor, okay. That's not terrible.
Yeah.
That could have gone a lot worse.
But props to Red Team for seeing an opportunity, making the decision to go after it.
Garrus right now is doing a ton of damage.
He's doing a lot. It's like he has to be
That's absolutely the wrong one. A good way to tell when Shaco's real one is if he has a buff, the buff will not be on the clone. So if he's got blue buff, and then you see two Shacos appear, one with the blue buff, one with the blue buff is the real Shaco. Oh, that's an interesting interaction between Xenoblade and Hop.
Yeah. Oh man, one auto when it crits for
Not bad.
yeah, you're great with these Mario. Oh, nice!
Oh, pineapples.
Nice ulti. Got the Varus. Draven needs to be with his team right now. He's spending way too much time top farming for that whole 30-second drawn away. He wasn't there for his
Gonna build this as minions are starting to shove in the tower pretty hard.
Yeah.
Again, I'm like friendly. I'm like, I'm not necessarily in love with. I think a locket would have been good. Ow.
Don't try and stand to
Yeah.
fight a Scion. This passage.
Kinda guys let Draven to die there with big giant Scion.
Well, if he had kept running with his team, I don't think it would have been an issue.
Fair. Ooh, flash binding hits. Not bad flash.
Thought that was gonna be another clutch find. Oh, they have bears there. I'll just take
Yeah.
the chase.
I wouldn't recommend it.
The opposite of Doctor's recommendation.
Yes.
Chasing fed enemies into uncharted territory is not part of a complete balance.
Yo. Looks like Lee might be building Sword Mill. Well, I don't necessarily like Sword Mill all that much. Sword Mill is kind of one of those items where it's good on some champions. Lee Sin in particular is not great on.
Yeah, and the threat is Varus, really. I can see why he built it. Oh, Hawk. Scion saw something out in the open, but he's gonna keep running. He's taking a little magical journey here.
He's just trying to end the game.
A little deep, to say the least. Oh, no, he's not gonna do that.
That whole going in one by one thing is not usually the wisest thing to do.
Yeah, Shaco's kind of realizing that, like, I shouldn't do that. I'll wait for my team to apply pressure elsewhere before I start my shenanigans. But with these Baron buff and those supers, this game is really nice for Red Team will have to do to do it. This is unfortunate. I saw some good things from Red Team. They really did ward up their jungle Rogus team, but the lead was just too quick for Red Team.
Yeah.
So, and it is some good things, but in the end, blue team comes out victorious.
But, alright. Let's get those advanced details and let's see if we can't dissect this a little bit more and give everybody some one-on-one stuff. If you guys got questions out there at Twitch chat, please feel free to ask. We will answer them to the best of our ability. Fortunately, Tuco's here and he can carry me through this moment.
Hell yeah. Regime Primal says, I made a TP play that game. I'm happy. Yeah, that was a really good TP early on.
Yeah.
Coming up from behind on Draven and Leona. That's an example of, one weakness of Leona is going in and not, oh no, someone's behind us. That's too bad.
I wasn't expecting to be no, I wasn't expecting this.
Alright, so you want to go ahead and, did you want to talk about Shaco at all?
Yeah, let's start off with Shaco. I think early on, You hit a lane or two early on. I think after that you kind of just disappeared in the jungle for a little while.
I think he felt he didn't get enough of a lead to warrant being out there as much, which is why he bought Cinderhulk.
I don't mind that pickup either. He could have gotten Warriors or Cinderhulk. Cinderhulk's still fine because he went into Black Cleaver after that, which
Yeah.
kind of gives him some sort of durability.
Yeah, yeah.
But Warriors is still fine.
Yeah.
I would have highly recommended like going to Sweeper. A lot of Shaco's like a lot of other junglers where like being able to deny vision and be able to come in with a flank is really important.
It is. It's
So-
very important. Yeah, that is. You say come in with a flank. That's one of the only ways that Shaco can participate in a team fight is coming in unexpectedly on the enemy's carries. So yeah, a trinket or Oracle Lens would have been very helpful in that regard.
Yeah.
I felt like I cut you off though.
That was pretty much the short of it. It was just probably a Sweeper. Probably hit. I would have liked to seen some more activity early game, but that's just me. Want to move over onto Xerath?
Yeah, we can move on to Xerath. He played pretty safe in lane. He didn't give Ari many chances to go in and make a play. He kept up with farm with her. He could both. I mean, I feel like we could link that horse doctor guide to last hitting. In fact,
Yeah.
We'll find it here eventually. But yeah, he did pretty well. He played safe. His ultimate. There were a couple times where I felt he only fired one, and there was still viable targets up, and he was in a safe spot. I don't know. I didn't really notice much. Nothing really popped out. Unfortunately, I wasn't studying your laning too closely. But yeah, Alan, did you notice anything?
I early on, Ari had a bit of an advantage on farm.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just recommend just work on your last hitting. That way you're hitting power spikes a little bit quicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he built Athene's, which is fine. I think he felt he needed to play defensively, and that's kind of the item you go to if you fall behind or don't want to be proactive, I guess, in terms of affecting the map. So
yeah, just work on those. Build path pretty straightforward. Loons I don't mind necessarily on Xerath because it does give him some mobility. That way he's not as at risk.
yeah,
I know it's more tooled for assassins nowadays, so maybe a 5th or 6th item possibly.
yeah, maybe.
I would have liked to have seen Athene's Death Cap into Void Staff. I think
Yeah,
that would have
Void
been really
Staff,
good.
and another option would have been Zonia's as well.
Oh, Hourglass, yeah.
Yeah, especially because like Lee Sin and Pineapples would be, and sorry, Nar would be the ones diving in on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good play overall. Played safe. Did your poke. Kind of want to look at damage real quick. He did a decent amount of damage. Yeah. Not too bad. Varus. Did you notice anything or?
Early on in lane,
Mhm.
I noticed you were burning some summoners just to try and do more damage.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
that's right.
necessarily recommend using flash to try and like land an arrow. You got snowballed and you got super fed. Your build's pretty much on point. Infinity Eye, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper into more than likely Bloodthirster. That's fine. Use your summoners like especially on Varus. You need to use your summoner spells more defensively than anything else. Aggressive use of them, like not having flash means that you are vulnerable for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not having that flash on hand,
Mhm.
and when you have a champion like Leona who has some peel, but isn't necessarily a really great peel support like per se Janna or Nami, definitely want to hold on to those summoners as long as you can and not burn them just to try and trade well.
Yeah.
Because if you're in any other lane, I believe that would have been punished very hard.
Yeah.
So definitely hold on to those summoners and use them only if you are securing a kill
Mhm.
or if you're getting away from being killed. Also switch up to Scrying Orb. Scrying Orb is really useful.
Oh, especially for Varus, yeah.
Yeah.
That's sniping. I also want to point out you could have been more greedy with your build. You didn't have to build Last Whisper third. You could have fit in a Bloodthirster or another offensive item. Maybe even Mercurial Scimitar, I guess. Because nobody on the enemy team. Oh, I guess Gnar. I wasn't looking at Gnar. Gnar has all the armor. So now that I
Yeah.
think about it, Last Whisper is a pretty good choice.
Yeah, Last Whisper was fine. Lee was starting to build armor there
Yeah.
as well, so I don't mind the Last Whisper pickup.
Mhm.
In normal circumstances too, Morg probably will want to go Zonia's first. We'll get on that one a little bit later, but yeah, no, the build's okay.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna get too much flame for like third item Last Whisper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Leona.
Leona. Okay. Yo, don't like cleanse on Leona.
Nope.
We already talked about it a little
I
bit.
don't think I saw it. Like, I'm sure you used it, but I never saw it affect a fight in any way, shape, or form. Not once. But yeah.
Yeah, it cleanses was a summoner spell that you use for marksmen and vulnerable mid laners, so they can get out of danger and continue to deal damage. For you in particular, if you eat a charm to the face, it's not going to be the end of the world for you. You can usually deal with the brunt of damage, and you're not going to be dead for it because your itemization will complement that. Like you have Frozen Heart and a Lock of the Iron Solari, you're not going to die within the effects of a charm.
Yeah.
Exhaust is a much better summoner spell in this sense too. Like if you're dealing with a very powerful Ahri, an Exhaust will mitigate her all-in engage. So try and look to like pack Ignite or Exhaust instead. That way you're not you're looking at summoners like, man, I wish I could slow down this Gnar. That's been really annoying.
Yeah. Or I wish we could burst down this opponent even faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scion. Let's see here. I felt like Gnar.
I feel like there's a really back and forth lane.
It was.
His itemization's fine. I don't know too much about Scion builds. Ravenous Hydra's kind of feels a little, I would say, greedy. I think at worst.
It's a little greedy. It's not terrible. Like
yeah.
I'm trying to think offensive items Scion can build. I'm trying to think
Right,
alternatives to Ravenous Hydra. I'm drawing a blank, but I think there's a better option out there. It's not hitting me right now though. But like if you want to improve your wave clear, maxing Q is probably not the worst idea. Yeah, the itemization was good. I especially liked you started Doran Shield and then you went into Ninja Tabby, and that helps mitigate quite a bit of Gnar's damage. The part that wasn't mitigated was the magic damage from getting 3 procs on you, because that does a % max health magic damage, correct? Is it magic?
Which one? What?
Gnar, his W when he lands 3 in a row on you.
Yeah, that's magic.
Yeah, it does % max health magic. So, it's really hard to itemize against him, but I felt did a pretty good job. I didn't see too many teleport plays come out. I know Gnar teleported early in the game, and you chose not to follow it. He was roaming mid lane when that happened, and eventually led to a kill on Ahri, I believe. But yeah, I would like to see a bit more plays made with teleport. And we saw that ult at the end that went just a little too deep. You can help a lot when it comes to when Gnar is trying to dive in on your carries. You don't necessarily have to be the one to dive in.
Yeah.
You can help peel a lot because all they have is Leona, and she has 1 stun, and then that leaves. It's up to the carries to defend for themselves at that point. So you could have helped out a bit more with peeling, but otherwise you played team fights pretty okay. Also, there's 3 unupgraded trinkets for blue team, so I would like to see an upgraded warding totem from one of them. Like Scion, especially if he decides to split push. And then, of course, I would like to see another Oracles, preferably from Shaco, and then you can get Scrying Orb for both Xerath and Varus. Really, both of them benefit from it. So, yeah. I think that's basically it for blue team. We can move on to red team here with Gnar, who did a pretty fantastic job, I feel like.
Yeah, Gnar was pretty strong in that game. Got an early gank early. Was still able to come back from that lane. In terms of damage items, I don't know if Black Cleaver is like your first option. I think in this situation, I would have liked to see Frozen Mallet first.
Yeah, Frozen Mallet wouldn't have been bad.
Yeah.
Good.
I think Frozen Mallet would have been a good first item choice. Black Cleaver's still fine. You're still doing damage. You're still dropping some very sick Gnar ults. You did pretty good all around. Itemization's pretty much on point. it's a tough situation to be in when you don't have like a go-to option. But you held off. You farmed well. Maybe focus on your warding in that early game. When you're going back to base, you've got an extra 75 to 150 gold that you can't spend on anything. Get some wards, get some potions, start using those. Help out with those trades and those close encounters. Because if you had some potions in some of those engages with Scion, I think you would have been more confident and actually committed and actually got a couple more kills early.
Yeah.
And some deep ward coverage would have helped you in dealing with Shaco too. So try and like start weaving in wards and potions while you're doing your build. I know trying to get to those item spikes are really important, but you also want to keep yourself safe,
Yeah.
especially if you're dealing with annoying laners like Shaco or junglers like Shaco.
Yep. Good look at chat here real quick.
Yeah. You look at chat. I'll get on to Lee. Lee, pretty much the short of it is, I think you did okay with some ganks. May want to kind of like look at where lanes are sitting at, and if you guys are trying to commit down like an entire lane to try and force a summoner from a champion like Scion, I would just back off. Once he walks away from the wave, just go. At that point, you're wasting time not only for yourself but also for Gnar, especially if there are waves to pick up. Gnar wants those minions more than anything else. 'Cause that's guaranteed gold, as opposed to like possible situational gold if Scion incredibly misplaced. Because Gnar doesn't have like huge gank assist if he's not Mega Gnar. He kind of just throws boomerangs and slows down, and you're not level 6 to be able to do dragon kicks early.
Yeah.
It would have been good to see like some early pressure bot lane of particular. They were pushing a lot, and I think if you guys were as 3 picked a fight with those guys, because they are continuously down to summoner because Leona had cleanse. I think you guys would have been able to convert at least a kill or two, especially once Varus burned his flash early on. And that's something you'll have to start practicing is timing summoner spells. Like, if you notice flashes are on cooldown, start trying to abuse those more than anything else. Because Varus is a mobile champion and Leona offers no peel. There's no reason why Lee, Draven, and a Morgana can't find a Varus without any summoner spells and get him killed down the lane.
Yeah.
Also, you build... Black Cleaver, again, not a great item. If you're looking to do more damage, Horus Doctor, I had mentioned it earlier. Last Whisper's a really good pickup there. Thornmill, I don't necessarily like as much either. Thornmill's kind of blah. Locket, again, would have been a good item. There's a lot of incremental magic damage coming in from the guys, from Xerath, from Varus' W passive, Leona's passive. A Locket would have been good there. You say, hey, I've got Locket. Would have opened up some options for your team as well. Or Randuin's help slow down Varus and keep him locked down as long as possible.
And I know why you upgraded your warding trinket into the greater one so you could ward hot more. Sometimes I see a lot of Lee Sins build Sightstone, and that can help a lot also with establishing vision for your team.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty... I mean, it's not like a must-buy every game. So, yeah, it's something to keep in mind next time. Try it out, see if you like it. Yeah, we can go on to Morgana next if you want.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Your build's kind of in a lot of directions right now. I like the Lock of the Iron Sightstone's good. I would have liked to have seen you build Zhonya's Hourglass first. Zhonya's Hourglass in particular, Morgana, is really important, just because being able to use that as an engage in a fighting ultimate is really good. And I think in this composition it would have worked too. You're dealing with a Varus, Shaco, and Scion. It would have given you some great durability, and then moving into Locket afterwards would have been great.
Yeah.
That Glacial Shroud could have been either Zeke Harbinger or Frozen Heart. Frozen Heart's not a bad itemization choice, but if you're looking for armor, I would have loved to have seen that Hourglass. I think that would have helped out. It would have brought in some good magic damage for your team, and it would have given you guys some options as opposed to our ultimate in terms of engages.
Yeah, bot lane didn't exactly go as planned for you guys, and so I understood you decided to roam top lane at one point, and then roam down mid, and then eventually make your way back to bot, and you do that, you punish, I know things aren't going well to begin with, but you're punishing your AD carry even more, and if you're going to do that, you got to be very decisive with how you roam, and if you feel like the roam isn't going to happen, don't kind of wander around. You got to get back to where you're needed bot lane, and you got to get back, or just make your next decisive moment. There's a little bit too much just wandering around in the mid game when there weren't any towers down. So
yeah,
it's fine to roam, give them a heads up, and do it, but you have to be decisive while doing it. I would like just to see a bit more decisiveness out of that. Is all. But I understand why you roamed. We could go down to Draven now if you want. I noticed. Here, I'll talk a little bit. And somebody brought up in the chat how Draven can benefit by sitting under inner turret and freeze. And yeah, that he probably should have done that after he fell behind. But for the first couple levels when it was still a little bit more even, as Draven, you need to be pretty aggressive and be catching axes and last hitting. So I'm gonna link in here into the Twitch chat something that Horse Doctor put together.
I already did it.
Oh, you already did it? All right.
Yep, I was way ahead of you on that one. A lot of Draven's kit, and what I linked in chat was what Tuco was talking about too, is Horse's CS guide.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very important guide for anybody who's playing any sort of solo lane, ADC, or anything for that matter. You want to, you got to maximize on your farm. That's your bread and butter. That's your gold income. And if you're letting gold go away, you're going to lose money. And Draven in particular, Draven's kit is unique. He has the spinning axes, and he has his passive where if he gets kills, he gets gold benefit to how many axes he's been catching and all that stuff. So you have to maximize that with Draven in particular. He has a very high skill ceiling, and you have to maximize that, and you have to practice that. What I saw in lane, you were just auto-attacking minions. You were just standing there and just auto-attacking minions. What you want to do is you have to identify important things like how to last hit effectively, and that takes a lot of practice. So first off, practice your last hitting. Go in a normal game, take off all runes and masteries, try and get perfect last hitting, and focus on that. Once you're able to get that down, then you can kind of up the difficulty a little bit, and then practice last hitting against bots and all that stuff.
And then adding in axes. It's a very difficult thing to do, is to juggle axes while last hitting and keeping tab of, oh, I wonder if Leona's going to jump on me right now. So I have to make sure my axe, when you last hit a minion, I make sure I position my axe far back away so that Leona doesn't engage on me.
Right.
So,
that is a key component of his kit that you cannot ignore. If you're just like, yeah, I'm going to play Draven, but I'm not going to throw axes, you're denying, I would say, a large percentage of what Draven is and does, and how much damage he does. So you have to practice all of that. You need to have the full package. Really get the full Draven experience. So what I would recommend doing is watching that guide, kind of understand how the importance of last hitting and how to manipulate waves becomes very important. And move around more. When you were playing as ADC, you kind of just stood there and threw axes. You have to move.
Yeah.
You have to move. You have to react. If you don't, you're just going to have a Leona just throw a Zenith Blade at you because she knows you're not going to go anywhere, and she's just going to bully you out of lane. You gotta put that into practice. It's going to take some time. What we're recommending you do is it's going to invest some time in just custom games where you're just practicing that last hitting. You're moving and getting comfortable on the champion and on last hitting. Once you're there, you can kind of start pushing your game a little bit more, a little further.
Yep.
But for the time being, you gotta really put a focus on that last hitting mechanic because it is quintessential. We're talking about League 101 in lane. You gotta know this.
The same can be said for basically everybody in this game too. The creep score isn't as high as it should be for basically everybody.
Correct.
So everybody could practice last hitting. Everybody could look at that guide and take something away from it. One thing I did like, Draven, that you did is that you knew you were behind early, and when your tower went down, you went and you spent time to farm and catch up. You didn't go and roam and lose out on experience, gold, and because when you're that far behind, you're not going to contribute that much to team fights to begin with. So you stayed in lane. Your support went out and roamed, and you caught up. You caught up in CS, even though you were still behind quite a bit. You caught up to relative to where you were. So I did like that. That was a good decision. And then I guess we can move on down to Ari. Yeah, go ahead.
You did fine. I think you went Rabadons into Morellos. I think if you'd reverse that a little bit, I think you'd be doing A-okay in lane. I think a Morellos into Rabadons is a very fine setup for Ari. If you wanted to, Morellos into Loons is okay too. Yeah. Build was fine. Farm is okay. Nothing problematic there. A couple times where you went really hard in on an engage, couldn't get a kill, or just got caught out because unfortunately you got flanked. Definitely want to play around your ward coverage. It's something I said in game, I think 1 or 2. You got to focus on you got to play around what you can see and what you cannot see. So if you're spirit rushing into blind jungle, you're going to put yourself at a lot of risk.
Yeah.
And that was the big thing I saw there. Like you were spirit rushing like directly into people's face, saying, "Hi, I'm Amari." I don't want you don't want to necessarily like be in front of them.
Practice
You
keeping
want
a
to
small buffer zone kind of in
Yeah.
between you. Yeah.
skirt around the fight as opposed to being the center of it.
Mhm. Yeah. Also, I would like to say it was tough to get a kill on Xerath in lane just because of how safe he played and how far back.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard because he also can push lane really hard if he chooses to. But if you can find an opportunity to quickly get through the wave, clear it out, and then roam top or bottom, Ahri is one of the best mid laners at roaming. Her mobility with her ultimate and her CC, she can really help switch fortunes around for bot or top lane.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep that in mind. I know it's difficult though to do against a Xerath, but yeah, that's basically all I have for Ahri. We can scroll down real quick and look at wards if you want to. And I would say, huh? Did you want to add anything before we did that?
No, but we can look at wards.
No, yeah.
I looked at it earlier. Like there wasn't too much. I was saying like a lot of wards placed, not a lot of wards destroyed coming in from either side.
Mhm.
I would like to see some more active use on sweepers. Like vision denial is as important as vision control. Like
Mhm.
getting eyes out of the map and removing vision, both important. Words, both important facets of the game.
Mhm.
Blue team a little light on pink wards. I'd throw some of those
Yeah.
on the map. They're really
would-
important, especially if you've got a Shaco.
Yeah, especially with any of Shaco. And I would like to say, red team overall did a pretty good job of keeping ward coverage throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
They kept up their ward count. It was pretty decent. And yeah, a couple more pink wards and a couple more wards in general from blue team probably would have helped them close the game out. And you brought up denying vision would have accelerated that game substantially for them.
Yes.
If they're able to deny vision of red team's own jungle, they would have been able to make a lot more picks, their decisions that were made or their options made to them would have been a lot easier to like, well, you know what, we deny vision all in here, we know where they are. It's a lot easier to determine, oh, bot tower, that's the easiest and safest objective we can get right now. It just makes your decision making so much easier to having vision and denying vision of the other team. So yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything else for this game?
No, not much else.
Even though it was kind of a bit one-sided, I thought both teams played pretty well. It was good to see. I didn't see any bad mannering. Everybody played pretty well, and yeah. I would just like to thank everybody for coming out and participating in this week's Bronze Bootcamp. You can go ahead and sign up at trinityforcenetwork.com. Click on the Battle Arena tab, and then scroll down a little bit, and there's a sign-up link for Bronze Bootcamp that happens every Saturday, noon to 3 p.m. on the Best Coast. Also, we have Battle Arena every Thursday night from 4 to 7 p.m. West Coast time, 7 to 10 East Coast. And I think that's basically it. My name's Ugly Tuco, and Cargans has joined me on this awesome journey we undertook of trying to help you guys out, and I hope you learned something today. Yeah. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.